a desire to be heard above the noise. And you might ask, what noise? Well, there are so many voices making so much noise. There's whining and complaining of heroes and victims, of rights and wrongs, of justice, of injustice. Whether it be a society swimming in the verbal diarrhea of the broken woken, who castrate truth to the approval of angry mobs, or the constipated grunts of conservative cavemen wielding legalistic clubs and dragging compassion by the hair. There is too much thoughtless noise. So just stop. Just stop and embrace the fact you are not listening. And by that I mean we are not listening. You see, as a people, we face the everyday challenge of having our voices heard. But more than just our voice, really it's a heart cry to be understood. And this is more than a small challenge. Society has mastered the technique of shouting out our own wants over the will of any competing voice. There is no consideration for true communication. It's just the inner self-indulgent echo chamber scrambling to dominate the conversation. Okay. If, and it's a big if we ever do consider pursuing truth or true communication, it will only be accomplished through the mastery of the art of listening. Are you listening? Without the determination and patience to engage our ears and mind and truly learn to listen, we can never hope to be truly heard. Why is being heard so important? Well, I think it is, and I think it's because of the miles of internal wiring that make up the me or the we that we were created to be fulfilled only through the contact of relationships. First and foremost is our relationship with our Creator, and then the relationship with one another. Somehow we've prioritized being heard as more important than hearing. And that's really sad. Because the net fruit of that type of interaction is destined to leave us with flushed faces and bulging jugulars trying to outshout one another. There's a proverb that has this flavor to it. It's better to be thought a fool and keep silent than to open one's mouth and remove all doubt. Or like this Mark Twain quote I heard recently, it's never argue with a fool. Onlookers may not be able to tell the difference. Yet we still posture, we pose, but we seldom expose a willingness to listen. And learning to hear others trains us to be heard. And yes, we have to train to be heard. There has been a stone wall built one stone at a time since our youth. The childhood transparency has long ago been replaced with a well-established defensive wall. And it's a wall that protects the inner person from the ridicule of scrutiny. And it is painful. We've all experienced it. But as long as we cower behind our wall, we have an extremely difficult time hearing or being heard. We press our ears to the wall and can't really hear those on the other side. And we yell a response to a conversation we've never really heard. And others respond to what they think they've heard us say, though it's really just a guess, because neither one of us can really hear one another. And the result of that is the verbal cues that they devolve into not much more than accented grunts and groans. We're not listening, we're just grunting and groaning. It's really not a wonder that communication, true communication, is circling the drain. In order to be validated, to be really heard, we need to be able to validate others, to truly hear them. And this only happens with unobstructed communication. So climb over your wall and try something new, like listening. And you may be pleasantly surprised when you don't have to scream so loud to be heard. All this effort is really a way and means of being validated in our relationships. It's important to note that to be validated, we have to learn to validate. Just because you can out-debate or skillfully argue a point doesn't mean you've successfully been heard. No, it's more likely you have successfully reinforced the fear of ridicule in the other, and they retreated back behind their wall. Now, all they can hear are the muffled grunts of some ranting lunatic located somewhere on the dark side of their wall. That ranting lunatic would be you. Or me, I suppose. You see, you may have won the verbal joust, but have also impaled any chance of being heard. I've heard it said, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Let your desire to be heard be seasoned with wisdom and grace. After all, you're not as easy to communicate with as you might think you are. Don't teach others that the safest place to be is anywhere that you're not talking. So, kind of in conclusion, wrapping this thought up, is give ground for others to stand and be heard. In doing so, you will find common ground to also stand and be heard. And in case you're wondering whether I'm drawing all this from personal experience, I would say, yeah, you're probably right. But more importantly than you being right, it's time for me to take a nap. But before I do, I want to encourage you to subscribe, to hit the like button, to leave a comment. In fact, I would really like comments. Even if you don't like this, dislike it. It still validates that you're hearing me. Or if you have some suggestions, because I'm still learning how this works. I'm still learning how to communicate via this platform. Any helpful suggestions, I'd be more than happy to listen to you. You see how I tied all that together? All right, I'm going to go catch some Z's. Thank you.